Today, I'm gonna show you how to make the fluffiest dinner rolls. Hey everybody, it's Natasha of NatashasKitchen.com. You guys are gonna love this recipe. The ingredients are so simple. You probably already have everything you need to make these, and they are melt in your mouth soft. I'm craving dinner rolls, so let's get started. To start, you'll need 1.5 cups of warm whole milk. It should be about 110 degrees Fahrenheit. You wanna make sure it's not too hot or it can deactivate the yeast. Stir in 1 tablespoon of granulated sugar and whisk that to combine. Then sprinkle the top with 1 tablespoon of active dry yeast. Let that rest for a minute, then whisk the yeast into the milk mixture. Now you're gonna set it aside and let it proof for about 5 minutes or until the yeast looks foamy. All right, that looks perfect. Now we're gonna add 4 tablespoons of warm, melted, unsalted butter. Also add the rest of your 1/3 cup of sugar and 1¼ teaspoons of salt. Next, we're gonna add just under 4 cups of all-purpose flour, and make sure you measure that correctly. I do have a video tutorial on how we measure ingredients for baking, and I will link that in the notes. Add the flour just 1/2 cup at a time and whisking to incorporate between each addition. Once that's fully blended in, add a little bit more flour and continue doing that until it's too thick to whisk. I love starting my dough with a whisk because it incorporates much faster and speeds up the process, but eventually the dough will get too thick and we're gonna switch to the dough hook attachment. If you don't have a stand mixer, you absolutely can continue to blend this together with a stiff spatula and then knead the dough by hand. I'm gonna set my mixer to speed 2 and continue adding that flour. Scrape down your mixing bowl as needed to help the flour incorporate evenly. Add the last 1 to 2 tablespoons of flour only if it's needed. When the dough is done, it should still feel sticky and tacky to the touch, but if you have clean, dry fingers, it should not stick to your fingertips. If you see it is very sticky to your fingertips, you can add 1 to 2 tablespoons of flour at a time until you reach the right consistency. Once the flour is all mixed in, you want to knead that for another 2 minutes on speed 2. Because this dough is so soft and moist, it will produce the fluffiest dinner rolls. Now we're gonna let the dough rise. Transfer it to a well-oiled, large mixing bowl. Cover that with plastic wrap and let it rest and rise in a warm room for about 2 hours or until the dough is doubled in size. The dough will rise faster in a warmer environment, so you can either use your oven or a microwave. If using your oven, preheat to the lowest heat for about 2 minutes, then turn the oven off and set the bowl of dough on a towel and let it proof in the warm oven for about 2 hours. Or you can place a damp kitchen towel into your microwave, heat that for a minute on high heat. This will create the perfect warm and moist environment for the dough to rise. Place the dough into the warm microwave, shut the door, and let it rise for a couple of hours. When it's done, you'll see that the dough has doubled in size. Now we're gonna divide the dough into individual rolls. Lightly dust a clean and smooth work surface with flour. Now turn the dough out onto your floured surface. Since the dough is sticky, I find it's much easier to work with after giving it a quick turn on a lightly dusted surface. We're gonna turn this into 15 dinner rolls. You can make 16 dinner rolls or 24 depending on the pan size that you use. We're using a 13x9 casserole dish, which fits 5 across and 3 deep, making 15 dinner rolls. I find the easiest way to portion this is just to divide. First, divide the dough into 3 even pieces, then divide each of those pieces into 5 even pieces. I find it helps to score the dough before slicing to see what your pieces will look like. Once you have your dough pieces, you're gonna roll them into balls. You can either wrap your hand around the dough and roll it on a clean work surface, or you can roll it in the palm of your hand. My favorite way is to hug the dough with my thumb and fingers and then roll it in the palm of my hand. You should get a smooth and even ball. Lightly oil a 9x13 casserole dish, then add your dinner rolls so they're evenly spaced in the pan. Cover those with plastic wrap, and we're gonna let those rise in a warm place for about an hour or until they're visibly puffed. We're gonna do our same warm microwave trick, so put a damp towel in the microwave for a minute, then put your casserole dish into the microwave, close the door, and let them sit for about an hour. When those are nearly done, you're gonna preheat your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. You can see they've puffed and risen beautifully. Now we're gonna bake those in the center of a preheated oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for about 23 to 25 minutes, or until they've risen and the tops are a beautiful golden brown. As soon as those come out of the oven, if you want them to have a golden glow, brush the tops with 1 tablespoon of melted butter. Now the easiest way to amp up the flavor is to sprinkle the tops with a little bit of kosher salt while the butter is still fresh and melted. This will help the salt stick to your dinner rolls. You do want to let the rolls cool slightly before serving. And it is so hard to resist a fresh and warm dinner roll. All right, these have been cooling long enough. I personally love rolls when they're still a little bit warm out of the oven. I think they're the softest and most delicious then. So we are gonna do a taste test. Are you ready for this? I can't wait to show you guys what's inside of these rolls, how soft and crazy fluffy they are. Okay, and I've got my butter and I've got my plate and I'm ready. Here we go. All right. And these come out super easy because remember we oiled the dish. Okay, look at this. These are so tall and fluffy, delicious. Take a look inside. These are like cotton candy soft. They are so good. Look at that, yummers. Okay, and we need butter. We need butter because bread and butter. I've got some softened butter here, and I do have a really, really good honey butter, which we serve for the holidays. It is easy, excellent, and I will leave a link in the notes, but here we go with this taste test. Okay. Oh. The texture of a homemade dinner roll, you just can't beat it. You can't. I love that these are still a little bit warm. It's melting my butter. I'm excited. And I don't know, there's just this feeling about making your own dinner rolls. Make these and you will feel good about it, I'm telling you. It feels like an accomplishment, even though it was really easy. Okay, I'm gonna eat more of these. Also, these are perfect for sliders. I have a really good sliders recipe that you can use for these, and little peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. So good. Wow. The texture. These are like my favorite restaurant dinner rolls. Just homemade is always better. My whole family loves these. They freeze really well. And I hope these become a new favorite for you. I hope you love them, and we'll see you in our next video.